Do the dolls in your dollhouse want to put their feet up and watch TV or read a good book? Well, then they need a footstool. This quick and easy little footstool is a good beginner's project, or for the advanced crafter too. Anybody can do it. It's a lot of fun, and it will make a really nice addition to your dollhouse. So stay tuned and see just how easy it is. First, let's talk about what we need in order to make our footstool. We need 2 of these wooden discs. These are the little wooden 1.5 inch in diameter discs that you buy at the craft store. You've seen me use these a lot in a lot of my projects, so I always have a bunch on hand. You also need something to pad the top, and I'm just using one of these cotton rounds. I get these at the big package at Dollar Tree, and we'll trim that up so it's the same size. We need some fabric. You need a color for the top of your footstool, and I'm using this interesting little brown. I don't know if the camera's showing the detail. It's kind of cool. And then just some plain black, and these are all both 100% cotton. They came out of the quilt department at the fabric store. You need some trim to go around the bottom of your footstool, and I'm using just some baby rickrack, something about this size. It could be the rickrack, it could be a narrow black like grosgrain ribbon, something that will glue easily and that's nice and flexible so you can bend it around your footstool. You need some beads. I'm using just plastic pony beads in black. You'll need 4 of those, and you'll need a needle and thread. Now let's talk about tools. We need scissors to cut our fabric. And I'm actually going to use these and my little ones both, because we need to cut out the fabric and we need to cut the trim and the thread and things. We will need 4 clothespins. You'll need something to trace around onto your, width onto your fabric and also around. And I found that my tacky glue bottle, which we need the tacky glue, but this is just about the right size to trace. So I just traced around this and use that. You will need, did I say needle and thread? I don't remember. You'll need something to spread some glue and to poke in with. Alright, so I have traced around my glue bottle and cut this out. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't, you know, it's not like anybody's going to be looking at these edges. So we're going to start with the black one. We need to knot our thread. I've got double thread here, just like any kind of hand sewing project, or just about any hand sewing project. You need to thread your needle and knot it at the end, and then we're just going to take small stitches like that all the way around. I'll try and go quick so that this doesn't take all day. What we are doing is we are going to make this fit around one of these wooden pieces. This plain black will be the bottom. You want relatively small stitches, but they don't have to be super tiny. We're just doing this to gather up our fabric. Then we lay our piece of wood in the middle. And pull our needle. See, that's just going to draw this around. And it doesn't have to lay perfectly flat. You're just pulling it in so it fits. And then we're going to tie our thread off. And it's okay if it stands up a bit. That's okay, because we are going to be holding it down with some glue here in a little bit. And we're just tying this off so the thread doesn't come out again. We need this to hold the fabric around the piece. And we do the same thing with the brown fabric. And I like to work from the right side of the fabric. It's a little easier to gather that way when you get ready to do this. And see, I'm not being really super accurate with my stitches. They're not the same size. They're not even straight, you know, the exact distance from the edge, just so they're up, so they're going to be on the inside and not show. And that's the beauty of these stitches. They don't show, so we don't have to worry about how they look. They're truly just functional. They're not, we're not going to see them. Now for this one, I've cut my cotton pad down to just a little bit bigger. It can be the same size, about the size of our piece. It can be slightly bigger, or actually I've got another one that's cut better. This one's cut better. This one's the same size. Cut a few of them yesterday and they were too big. I think that was one of my ones that was too big. Once again, we're pulling this. We're going to tie a knot in our thread so that it doesn't come out. And now we can cut our thread off. Now it's time to glue. We're going to put quite a bit of glue in here. And this is one of the few projects you're going to see me actually use glue straight out of the bottle. You know I don't like to do that, but for this, because we actually need quite a bit of glue, I'm going straight out of the old bottle. Line these up with the sewn sides together. Tuck in, and you can use our little pointy tool here to tuck in any edges. And now we use our clothespins. I like to use 4 because I really, really want this smashed down. Now this needs to dry completely. And if you've got glue sticking out like that, you're going to want to wipe it off. Try not to get glue on the right side of your fabric because it will make, any place glue is on fabric where it shows, it's going to make a shiny spot. So this needs to set to the side and dry, and then we'll move on. We have a footstool here that's all dried, and you're going to have some little dents in the top. Just use your thumb, kind of rub around, and you'll get those dents out. Now we need to put our braid around our footstool. We're going to cover up, kind of disguise this gap here. And again, we're going to run our glue actually all the way around. Try to not get too much, but you need enough to fill that kind of dent there where the two pieces come together. I'm going to run our bead of glue all the way around. We need enough glue that it will hold our braid onto our piece. Now I've got a wet wipe here in case I get glue on my fingers. What do I mean in case? I mean when I get glue on my fingers. It's handy to have something to wipe your fingers up with when you get glue on them. Now, scissors. And here, I'm going to cut this as close to where the two pieces match as possible. They can overlap a little bit, but you want them to come together. And kind of use your tool. Use your tool to push your braid in. You don't get as much glue all over everything I found. Now once again, this needs to dry. So when this step is dry, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so here's a footstool the glue is all dry. You can see a few more spots here where I got glue on the fabric. That's okay. It doesn't show a lot. Now, we're going to look at the bottom of our footstool and we're going to imagine a line. We're going to put 4 dots of glue, but we need to make them pretty evenly spaced. I'm going to go one there, and then one straight across, as straight as I can be. And then we're going to go halfway, and straight across again. And try to make them about the same distance in from the edge, and even as you can. And then we take our tweezers and we put our pony beads right on that glue. And I don't know that it really helps me any, but when I make things like this, I like to then take a little more glue and just drop a little more glue into the beads. It seems like they stay on a little better. It's like it soaks down. It'll run through your bead and kind of make a good seal in there. When it starts to set up, then you can kind of wipe off the bottoms of your beads so that they're level. We need to let this sit. When it's all dry, I'll show you how it looks. Alright, here's our finished footstool, and I think that'll be a nice addition to the living room in the doll's house. These can go in almost any time period from Victorian time on to modern, and this is a good size. It's not too big. It's a little smaller than in scale than a real one would be, but doll houses tend to be a little crowded, so I think the size is really good. And the height is great for a footstool. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you haven't yet, find us on Facebook. And I've got some exciting news coming up in the near future for a new thing that's going to be coming around. And as I get details, I'll be able to tell you about it. Until then, have fun with your minis, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.